Good evening. It is now 6 p.m. on Monday, October 20th. We have all counselors with the exception of Zach Steele present, and Linda Caprera is joining us over Zoom. We will now begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. And here's Zach. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I will open it up for public comment. If there is anyone in the audience or online that would like to raise their hand or come to the podium. Not hearing anything or seeing anything online, we will go ahead and begin with item 135, consideration of proposed amendments to the administrative code, and this is carried from our last meeting. And this is regarding the second reading of the amendments.
Yeah, so we did incorporate the changes that we discussed at the last meeting.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the second reading of the amendments to the administrative code.
Is there a second?
Second.
James? Any discussion? All right. All in favor? All are
I'm
in
in
favor.
favor.
Thank you, Linda. I was just going to ask. Okay, so 7-0. Moving on to item 141, we will open a public hearing for the amendment to ordinance number 15, use of public property parks. We are opening that at 6:02. Is there?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So Police Chief Paul Furland came to me recently, and he has a concern about people who are camping overnight in public spaces. I think it raises two concerns, and the chief can speak to this better than I can probably, but public safety would obviously be one of them. But there's also an issue of public health, because if someone's staying in a public space, there's the matter of human waste to deal with and how that gets dealt with. So we looked at the ordinances, and there was an ordinance that prohibited overnight stays on some public spaces, those typically being parks or public school grounds. So we wanted to expand that to include all public spaces. We've made those changes you see redlined in your memo. The attorney has reviewed it, and so we're here to answer any questions you might have and address any concerns that anyone might have. No.
Chief Furland, did you have any comments?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that we have two issues at hand. One is on Public Works property, and one is on property that is owned by the Water District down on Anabescook Lake, where people have moved in and set up areas where they're living now, and with no real spot to tend to their daily needs, that becomes a public issue, as well as the liability issue that we incur by them staying on our property. And I figured this was one way we could address that situation without having to write a brand new policy to deal with this issue, is just forbidding enclosing it between the hours of 10 at night to 5 in the morning, just like we do on Norcross Point.
6 a.m. is what we have here.
6 a.m.
And the reason we're proposing this is, without this sort of instrument, then the police have no way to tell people, hey, you can't be here during the evening.
Chief, have we sent them packing now, or?
We have not.
Okay, so this is going to help enforce that.
Correct.
Great, thank you.
Is that a matter of, why have we not dealt with it now? Is there just no mechanism to do that, or?
There is no mechanism to do that, and without getting into a whole new policy and opening up a whole new can of worms, this was the best solution to get approval to do this before we've been dealing with these individuals, and we've been working with them, trying to get them placement in shelters, to try to have to avoid this altogether. And we are still working with them, trying to get them placement. But because of some of the dynamics, we have not been able to follow through on that, as well as the counselors that have been appointed to them to work with them to try to help them get into some sort of shelter. We're working through that process as well as working through this process without having to take a criminal remedy to deal with the issue.
I'm fine with this. And I like that we have the line in here for the superintendent and the town manager, because sometimes they do the tent out on the homecoming stuff. So other than that, yeah, I think this is good.
And just so you folks, oh, I'm sorry, Andy. Just so you folks know, we did look at other communities and their ordinances, and this is sort of the approach that other communities take as well.
I'm sorry. Isn't 10 running a little late? You might want to, I remember Norcross used to be closed when we had a gate there at 9 years ago.
Yeah, we do it by the outline here. It's 10 at night till 6 in the morning. We do give a little variance in the morning of the fishermen who are coming in early to get out on the lake early. So we take that all into consideration when we try to enforce this. But mainly it's to curb any issues that we have had recently down there at Norcross with vandalism going on during the night hours.
Well, that's what I was thinking. If it was 9 like it used to be, it might help instead of 10. And, you know, really getting into the night, PD has to have an enforcement issue. You know, the later than the night it is, it seems to me more difficult it would be. You know? That's all.
Go ahead, Roy.
Have we done anything with the security cameras down to the Norcross Point?
We are still waiting for that grant to come through Maine Municipal. The company that we've looked at is ready to go. We're just waiting for the funds.
Just a quick question, Chief. It doesn't really matter a whole lot, but it's popped in my head. What kind of, are we imposing fines on these folks, or are we just asking them to leave, or?
Just asking them to leave.
Good, yeah, because I don't think it's going to help with to fine them, so.
No.
Thank you.
Linda, did you have any questions or comments for the chief?
No.
Okay. Any other comments from the audience? Anyone online? Not hearing any, I will go ahead and close the public comment at 6:09 and move on to item 142, consideration of amending ordinance number 15, use of public property and parks to prohibit occupancy of all public spaces from 10 p.m. to 10 a.m.
So move.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
I'm in favor.
Thank you, Linda. All are in favor. Is there is there a motion to waive the second reading?
Motion to waive the second reading?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
I'm in favor.
Thank you, Linda. All are in favor. Item 143, consideration of order number 2025-12, accepting $288 in abandoned cash in the possession of the Winthrop Police Department.
So over the years, we've come into possession of this cash. We have no way to find the owners. We talked with the state treasurer's office, and they suggested that the proper procedure was for you folks to formally accept it. And since I drafted this memo, you'll see in your packet, there's a request from our town planner to donate this money to the effort for the trunk or treat and other holiday decorations for downtown.
I'm glad you found my money, and I'm happy to donate it.
You haven't missed it yet.
I'm good with this, thanks.
Okay. So do we want to make, approve the order and then make a separate motion to donate the cash?
I think he can do it, right? We just- 'cause it's-
Yeah, I think if you folks give me the thumbs up to that, well, you can just do it that way.
Dawn or the
Yes.
chief?
To Dawn.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I don't know.
Well, even if it wasn't going for holiday decorations, it would still just go into the general fund, so. And then,
And you could-
and then the chief would get like 1/20th of that or something.
Free coffee from Anthony.
We'll make a motion to approve 2025-12, accepting $288 in abandoned cash in the possession of the Winthrop Police Department.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
I'm in favor.
Thank you, Linda. All in favor. Item number 144, consideration of awarding a contract for the provision of winter sand to Blue Rock Earthworks. And I do see that our Public Works Department Director, Kevin Doyle, is here. Hi, Kevin. So how did the testing go?
It went very well. In fact, I have the gradation test here. So the gradation test that we were trying for was from 3/8 to number 200. And that would be from 100 to, obviously, to 0. When we wrote this, when I wrote this, I put in all winter sand must conform as closely as possible to the following gradation requirements. I think this one meets as closely as we're going to get. Could it be perfect? Yes. Have companies come in perfect? Yes. I'll tell you that this was not cherry picked. We pulled the 5-gallon pail of sand ourselves and dropped it off at SW Cole.
Something that you're good with all the equipment and everything?
Yeah, in fact, just an update, we're actually testing equipment today. We were running stand through the equipment, make sure everything's okay, checking fluids and all that stuff. Any rainy day that we have right now, we'll be testing winter gear. At some point, we'll harness everything up and send them around on their route so they have a dry run. Where we have some new people, but we're in pretty good shape right now and we'll be moving forward. We're trying to wrap up the paving stuff right now.
What does the staffing look like right now? Are we,
We are fully staffed at PW. I am one short on the cemetery crew, which will come over to that labor position, but I can fill that before winter.
and how many do we have that are veterans from last year?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Right, so we shouldn't have.
We're adequate.
We didn't at the beginning, at
Yeah,
last.
we'll have 2 new people on routes, but they both have plowing experience.
If we approve Blue Rock Earthworks tonight, will they be delivering right over to the Public Works Building?
Yep, we'll set it up with them to deliver. We're going to probably do some hybrid so that if we have the time to do some sand, we'll save a couple of bucks doing that. But if I tried to do that all at once, it would take us over 2 weeks to move all that sand. It's just not, the best option for us right now.
I just want to, I got to recuse myself from this vote just because my fiance's family is kind of related to Blue Rock. So, but just wanted to make that known.
Can I make a motion? Can I make a motion to? Is that? Yeah. I make a motion to approve the contract with Blue Rock Earthworks for the provision of winter sand.
Yes, you can. All right, any further discussion? All in favor?
I'm in favor.
Thank you, Linda. So we have 6, 0, and 1 recused. Item 145, discussion of the fire department ladder truck replacement, and we have Chief Brooks here and some firefighters in attendance. Thank you.
All doing?
Excellent, thank you.
So essentially, why I came in is because we've completed our specifications on replacement of our truck 3. So our intent, a couple of the members of the committee that went through the equipment and stuff is here. Our intent was to try to put to review the final specs, put it out to bid before the end of the month. Try to get, I was going to use like December, first week in December as a time to get the bids back. And then that would give us a week or so to review everything and then come in at the meeting in December to discuss what we have and what we got. My reasoning for this is that I will tell you for a fact, January 1st, the price of the truck will hit an increase. And roughly, they go up roughly every 3 months. So we've already seen a price increase since we've started talking. And they're saying expect a 5% price increase, which would be about $100,000. So we put $150,000 like last year, and 2/3 of that would just go towards a price increase come January 1st. So our intent was to try to beat that per se, if that was of the interest of the council. It takes, right now they're telling us 48 to 50 months for delivery. So this truck will not arrive for 4 years if we were to buy it. We can make prepayments that will reduce the price. Just to give you an idea, if we paid for the truck in full January 1st or whatever, we would save like $90,000-ish. I would suggest not doing that. My suggestion would be that if we order a truck, when we get close, like within a year, 18 months, they can keep us posted. We can then give them some money as they're buying equipment, supplies, steel, whatever, to build the truck. And we would probably see close to the same amount of discount. Even a couple of the truck salesmen say, the way in advance, you don't get anywhere near the benefit as you do late in the process. So that would be our suggestion. Continue to put money away to go towards the price of it. And then we can use some of that to, pay it down and maybe see a benefit. So there would be, if we go forwards with the bid, there's no requirements until we accept it. I mean, we're not buying into anything or owning anything. Technically, you're not even talking about paying for it for 4 years, but we've invested a lot of time and effort, and there's a process to go through from here. So I guess we were just trying to say this is where we're at and make sure you are on the same page and swimming in the same lake, and we'll go from there. But
Other questions? Go ahead, Aaron.
Thanks, Dan, for coming.
sure.
Great, by the way. So let's see. Not so much questions, just as kind of just my thought process or where I'm at, so you know. I think it is prudent to start the bid process, which would not obligate the town to awarding a contract, but at least give us the information. I'm still of the mindset that we need to engage our surrounding communities who utilize the resource as well, to see if we can start talking about, even if it's just for that truck, regionalizing the use of it, so that way say Monmouth goes in with some of us, that their firefighters could also respond to our station to get that truck or something to that effect, if they're willing to have that conversation, because the cost is so astronomical for us to handle on our own, knowing that it's a regional resource. I think it's just worth having that discussion, but I do support going forward with the bid process.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with Aaron. I think we should at least look. I think getting an RFP right now would at least, if we didn't go forward, we could at least kind of, let's say we did it next year at the same time, right? We'd at least have a reference for that escalation that they're kind of adding. The only thing I'd say is when we do get the numbers in, if we go forward with this, do you think you could put some suggestions to those numbers on what you're saying on like the payment plans stuff? Like if you think like 2 years in, that's when it's a good time to start that. That way we can kind of get some projection like 4 years out from now.
Yeah, I think the round number seems to be around 18 months to a year out is roughly when construction, equipment starts getting ordered and or eventually, of course, they have to put labor into building it.
Yeah.
So it's probably a solid 2.5 years before much of anything even,
Yeah, it'd just be
you're
good.
waiting in a queue at that point.
Yeah, whatever you kind of think, I'd just
Yep.
like to see the thoughts there. But yeah, other than that, I think it's good if we did get an RFP kind of put out for this and see where we get back. So
Can I
Go ahead.
speak? I'm kind of the same sentiment. I mean, have you reached out to any of the other communities? We talked about that last time.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if you have had any sort of preliminary conversations with them about where this particular resource. We talked about Monmouth bringing a tanker truck as their mutual aid contribution, and where this is what, 3-4 times the price of a tanker truck?
So I have no issues with that. I'm not sure that I'm necessarily, I mean, I can talk to other fire chiefs and we're going to have great conversations, but I would almost guess this is more of a council to selectman, manager to whatever. Just to throw a couple things out there, and I'm, again, not against it. If you call and say my house is on fire, you're getting Monmouth, Manchester, and Augusta with us automatically. Monmouth and Monmouth is going to bring you an engine and a tanker. So we work as 2-person crews. So when I say we're going to attack your house fire, I'm bringing an engine and a ladder. Monmouth's bringing me an engine and a tanker, and I'm getting a tanker for all intents and purposes for Manchester. I will say Manchester's done a great job. The new chief has done a great job rebuilding the department, so we'll probably be starting to get an engine out of them. We will get an engine and an ambulance out of Augusta. So and we can take more trucks to a call. I'm not saying we don't, but when I plan my strategy, that's what I plan. Engine ladder from me, engine tanker from Monmouth, tanker from Manchester, and an engine and an ambulance from Augusta. So you're absolutely right that a tanker costs a quarter of the price of a ladder, but it takes 4 or 5 times as many tankers to equal what that ladder is. One tanker truck doesn't do them any good. To go to an extreme, when Dorothy Egg Farms burned down, we figured we ran 350,000 gallons of water to that fire, and we did it 2,000 gallons at a time, one truck at a time. We had 18 towns there bringing tankers. So the reality is, what I say is, if you're thinking, well, we bring this really expensive ladder and you bring a tanker, you got to call 4 towns and say, I got to pay for all 4 towns part of their tankers. So it's really kind of we all work together. We're all helping each other. We're all doing a lot more. But I totally get your argument. A town like Manchester, the only real positive I've heard, I would say, and I hate to throw him under the bus, but I talked to a Manchester firefighter who is also a selectman, and he would be in favor of supporting it. The problem is Manchester is just as easy to call Augusta. So I don't know how far that would go. He personally does, because he understands how their fire department works with us, but that doesn't mean the rest of the selectmen want to. And it's really, I get it that we're buying a ladder truck that's expensive, but do we want Reed Field to come call us and say, hey, we just bought a real expensive this, are you going to help pay out? You know, it sounds important to us, but it loses some in the gusto when you go to other communities. But I have no issue with it.
Do any of the other communities have like a ladder truck or anything close to it that they bring on mutual aid calls?
No, they bring, an engine nowadays is half the price of a ladder truck. That's $1 million. So, in today's dollars, Monmouth is bringing $1.5 million worth of a piece of equipment and as many firefighters as we have, versus Manchester's bringing a $700,000 truck. In today's numbers, it might not be what they paid for it back in the day.
Right.
But so I'm just trying to show some apples to apples. It's a little easier to get away with this in the EMS world because there is no other option. Your next option is another 10, 15 miles away. Like I said, going to Manchester, they're border Augusta, they border Winthrop, they can go either way. So Monmouth, maybe not so much. Sometimes they don't want our ladder truck. They ask for an engine. We had a traffic accident in Manchester last night, Saturday night, so we sent an engine over to help them with traffic control. So it isn't necessarily always the ladder that they're requesting. It is part of our policy to send the ladder because more than likely that's what they want. So we set that truck up. Augusta does specifically want a ladder truck. So
James and
I don't know if that helps. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, I got a bunch of things to ask Dan, but off the tail of that, does Augusta has a ladder truck, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
have a tower truck, actually.
Yeah. I guess with this, having this conversation, and I think you kind of supporting it by saying this, which would slow down us saying, hey, pay for this, and then them coming to us and say, hey, can you pay for that? Is the regionalization of a whole fire department with more than one town. So if we had Manchester, Monmouth, Reedfield, or whoever, then it's one expense. Everybody's paying it. It's a regionalization. You get more firefighters, you get more resources. I think that's a discussion that I'd be looking towards. So, you were saying that would cut that completely off the table because we're regional. It's all of us. We're all sharing it because, when they buy a tanker truck, yeah, we're vested in it. When we're buying a ladder truck, they're vested in it. No matter what you purchase, the region is invested in it.
I think it will.
Would we be selling the old ladder truck, and what is the value of that would be?
I honestly don't know.
My brother's not around to buy one, so.
I don't know. They do bring a lot more money now because like a used car or anything else, the
Yeah,
price will go up. The truck, by this time this arrives, the truck will be 26 years old,
Okay.
which isn't completely worn out, but it needs a paint job now. I got a price of about $350,000 to refurb the truck and bring it up to,
Yeah, because that would be like my next question. So.
I think it's probably about $100,000 truck.
When will the truck be like out of code or out of inspection where we would have to have a lot more vested into it? Do you guys is that an annual inspection?
It's an annual inspection.
Okay.
And actually, to be honest, the last year, we probably put the least amount of money in that truck. But it's normally about, not including the inspection cost, we put about $15,000 in it the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Last year, I think we only put about $5,000. It was actually a good year.
Yeah.
But we had several years of higher amounts.
I remember.
So generally, as they get older, the ladder truck that we had before this one, we had this one on order, and the older ladder truck failed inspection and had to be it was 100, it was nothing but a 50-foot tool truck because we couldn't use the ladder anymore.
Right.
So we're trying to obviously avoid that. But I don't have any indication that's going to happen this year.
Understand.
5 years from now, I don't know, but
Last quick question, Dan. When you did talk, I think it might have been during budget season, we talked about, we have 4 trucks now. You talked about going to
we have a pickup truck and then 4 trucks.
We did talk, I think you did talk about saying kind of giving up a truck.
Well, so
you have another bay to put, and I'm just remembering what you saying.
Yeah, what it is
You retire another truck?
Essentially, if you look at our replacement schedule, the ladder truck's supposed to get us another 16 years, and there's just no way it's ever going to do it. The truck that's in the older truck that we have up there is technically the next truck for replacement. So we should replace that truck in 4 years, and then 8 years after that, replace our ladder truck. So, but to get 12 years out of that truck and try to get it out to, doing my math, 33, 4 years is going to cost money to do that. So my intent was, instead of replacing the 99, let's replace the ladder truck, run the 99 as long as we can run it until it's no longer operational or whatever. And then it's not really worth a whole lot at this point anyway. Just get it as long as you can and then reduce the fleet by a truck.
Yeah.
The only issue with that, and it's a small one, but it's also a big one, is that the other engine that we have up there only holds 300 gallons of water. So our primary truck holds 1,000. This ladder truck would hold 500, and the other engine holds 300. So we really then become super heavy reliable on tankers because we really only got one truck to attack fires. If you really wanted to solve all these issues, we should get rid of 3 trucks and buy 2. But that's another
Another discussion.
another discussion for another day. But
Understood.
just
Thank
so you understand, it wasn't so much that I don't want that truck. It's just, it's in its last legs.
No, I think
And we
it-
should get onto the
I thought it was a
ladder.
good discussion. I thought it was a good forfeiture, to get something different. So,
Yeah,
Yep.
2 for 1 to some
yeah,
extent.
exactly. Thanks.
Aaron, and then Andy, and then I have some comments.
Okay, couple things. Anthony, refresh my memory. Didn't we approve money for at least up or refurbishing to some degree the ladder truck to get some additional mileage? That was my
I'm
understanding.
not recalling that, but I'm looking to Chief Brooks.
Well, we put
I bel-
$150,000 aside.
Okay.
I don't think we earmarked it for anything other than future truck,
Okay,
but we
because I think
didn't.
that was
ear-
our intent at least, to
So-
try to
so-
get to that 6-year point with that.
Yeah, so if I'm remembering correctly, Aaron, we previously just had one fire capital reserve and we decided to break that into two,
Two.
one specifically for apparatus and the other for the building.
Will he be able to access those funds if he needed it?
Oh,
If
well, that's up-
something
that's
catastrophic.
completely up to the council. So
And then yes, I would say, I will say we need to start that process so we're not then trying to have to throw more money at it or something. So with that said, and I'm sure now you're going to get some more about that, so that's fine. Anthony, can we start having a discussion with the other towns about maybe establishing an enterprise fund or developing a co-op that I do agree with Chief Brooks that we rely on their resources as much as they rely on our resources. However, one, I want to make sure, I think it would benefit the region to make sure when these discussions are happening, that Chief Brooks is engaging his counterparts to see what this region needs and where, throughout all the departments. And if we all got together and had a fund and then we knew, this tanker over here is going to be needing replaced, or, the ladder truck. If we start having those discussions now, I think down the line, we're individually as towns it's just not going to be plausible to keep purchasing these on our own. So I think if we start having, even with the city of Augusta, since they utilize our ladder truck quite often and vice versa, I would have no problem contributing to this fund, even in support of other towns. But I would want it to be, because I know regionalization saying that, yes, combining these departments, we're away from that. Like, that's not going to happen overnight. But I think this could be a step towards that, and we could realize savings. And we would probably have a little bit more bargaining power if we were to develop a co-op or something to that effect, and knowing where to best spend those monies. Does that make sense?
yeah, it does. I think that's an intriguing idea. I'll be happy to try to congregate a meeting of the town managers where we can talk about that. In response to Jim's question, it did raise a question in my mind, Chief. Do you know of any sort of successful efforts to regionalize fire departments?
I know only of one. Millinocket and East Millinocket hate each other.
Not
That'd be a
Millinocket,
good
not
term.
Millinocket, the other one, the district up there. There's a
Yeah,
district.
there's Castle. There is just outside of Caribou, there's a 3-town fire, Chapman, Castle Hill, and another town that has one chief for 3 towns. And then above Presque Isle, there's North Lakes Fire Region that's multiple towns, very small communities together operating under one chief. Those I think are the only, I said one, I think those are the only 2 I know of. There are several fire departments, several towns that have given up their fire department and they contract with a neighboring town now. That is kind of like Industry no longer has a fire department. They contract with Farmington. So there's been some of that, and there's some farming towns that just close out and say, we can't do it anymore. There really is, in southern Maine, any of this area, I don't know of any regionalization stuff.
So there might be some lessons to be learned from the 2 that have regionalized.
Andy?
Yeah, I'm in favor basically of regionalization. I'm not particularly in favor of going out and asking the other towns to contribute to our ladder truck. I'm afraid that if we start that kind of thing, then we're going to start counting 2 tankers equals 1 truck and how many tankers show up to fire from what town and, you know, all that kind of dissension. I really think that Dan sounds like everyone kind of has that worked out formally or informally. And I think it would just start hard feelings and trouble if we try to get other towns to contribute to our expense.
I think regionalization for the fire department is a good conversation. I think it's a conversation for another day, to be honest. I think that tonight, Chief Brooks was asking for guidance on the ladder truck and the replacement of it. And so from me, I would say that I would be in support of issuing a request for proposals and ordering a new truck, and then looking forward to those bids on December 15th from the fire department.
I'm sorry, that's the date, the 15th?
That's the date of the second council meeting in December.
Okay, I just wasn't sure of the date. Thank you. Sorry.
So that would give you, I think, 6 weeks to get some bids and then come back to the council. And then, so I'm just saying that this is how I feel about it. And so December 15th, we can kind of move forward and continue this discussion at that point.
No, that's very fair, I think.
Okay.
Would, one quick question, this is maybe for Anthony, or would it be possible to, this is one thing I was thinking, ultimately, the people this is affecting is everybody in the community, the whole tax base. Would it be possible to get some sort of just public opinion poll or something out there just to kind of see a feel of what community members may think of the purchase? I mean, we can lay out some of the facts and some of the details, and maybe are we able to do like a polling or questioning or something, a question, like a survey, just one question survey, like on the way into the voting booths or anything? Just because that's
Well, you would want to do it online because otherwise you're going to be trying to tally up all those things. And certainly we can do that. I think it's important just to keep in mind it would be like non-scientific at all.
just curious what I mean, it's essentially lying 100% on the taxpayer's back. I would think it would be, it's a huge expense. One of the biggest single expenses that especially equipment wise. And I would think that it would be nice to get the taxpayers' voice heard, and, you know, just to get some sort of sentiment about what they're thinking. Because I've heard lots of stuff myself, and it would be nice to see if we can give people a chance to, even if it's anonymously, weigh in on it. You know what I mean? Like a Survey Monkey. The problem with internet polling is you have only the people that are going to the internet, to the website, to the internet, and are forward enough to actually click on the survey and go fill the survey out.
Yeah. Well, if you're talking about a one-question survey, I mean, it wouldn't be difficult. I think that the challenge is just making sure that we do a good job of marketing the fact that the survey is available. And, you know, I don't want this to sound like a pejorative, but if we make an honest effort to gather people's opinions, then at a certain point also the citizen has a responsibility to engage in a way that lets us know sort of what they're thinking. And in fact, I was going to talk about this during the town manager report, but we, had our first community conversation on Friday during the lunch hour at the library. We had about 24 people there, which was more than I was anticipating. Had a really great conversation. So, there's nothing to say we couldn't have one of those sort of forums where the primary focus is on our fire department.
And I do want to add that what I meant to say too was that I joined the council almost 3 years ago, and the first budget discussion, Chief Brooks gave a very informative presentation on the need for a new ladder truck almost 3 years ago. And so I do appreciate his long-term planning, because at this point, if he were to put in a bid for a truck, then it would still take, as you said, another 4 years. So 4 plus those 3 years is 7 years. I would consider that long-term planning. And I do appreciate that when it comes to capital assets.
I hate to tell you, but I think the truck might not, half the committee that put the truck together might not be here when it arrives.
Right.
We're going to see some retirements coming out of our department over the next few years, and it's going to put a crunch on us. That's another discussion for another day, but I would tell you that there's a few people, myself, who knows? My girlfriend put in for retirement today, so who knows
Congratulations.
where we all are. But anyways, no problem. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. And then also my last thing too was the timeframe, when we would be looking at our truck in about 4 years. What would that look like as far as putting that out to bid and then receiving the truck? When would we look at putting that out to bid in advance?
Yeah, that's a tricky question. It's not much different than trading your own car in. You try to sell it yourself on the front lawn. There are companies that specialize in selling used truck. They broker it, and for like 10%, you lose 10%, and for them to find people nationwide to sell a truck for you, that might be an option. It's probably a good angle to at least get some prices on what they will give you, quotes on what they think the truck is worth and that kind of thing. So that's an angle that we could look at. I mean, actually, we did pretty well with the older trucks last time, putting them out to bid ourselves, but it's kind of a narrow window, and this needs a bigger one for this type of truck.
Absolutely. And if there was any kind of overlap, we would have storage in order to store them until that were to sell.
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, I think when you get close, you start lining that
Okay.
up and you say it will be available on such and such a date, something like that type thing.
Thank you. Aaron?
So I was just, sorry, Anthony, I was just going to reiterate the fact that it was my intention when we put those funds aside, whether it was capital or not, for them to be spent on the maintenance and doing everything we can. So I would, advise to find where you need the money and to spend the money on doing whatever you can do for the truck.
Yeah.
And we'll keep, and as far as I'm concerned, I support replenishing it yearly till we figure out what we're doing.
No, thank you. I don't have an immediate need at this point, but thank you. Yeah.
I had a brilliant thought and it's escaped me. So, no, that's fine.
Marching orders, is that council comfortable with?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
Thank you.
no, I
Thank you very
remember.
much.
thank you, chief.
So this might also be a selling of the old ladder truck might be, govdeals.com might be a perfect forum for that because it's going to reach a nationwide audience. And two, as a reminder, even after we put a piece of apparatus up for bid on a site like that, we're not obligated to accept whatever the high bid is. If we don't think it's sufficient, then we can turn it down.
We'll move on to item 146, consideration of the September 2025 disbursement warrants.
I've got a few questions on these. I don't know if Anthony and, actually, it looks like one of them is a PD.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. How about the very first one? All it says is vertical oil tank for the PD. Is that something that was budgeted? It's a $8,900 expense. Okay. Okay, I'm just curious, but they've been there a while. All right, the other thing, I'm not sure if this is a Paul or an Anthony question, but the, coverage for the Iron Man. We paid Monmouth Police Department $600 for coverage for the Iron Man. What is that for?
So Chief, why don't you come up to the microphone? So our
I'm
online
not
audience.
trying to grill you. I'm just curious as to why we're paying for coverage for the Iron Man. That's all.
Iron Man, we've been doing that outside contract to assist Hollowell PD for the past 3 years.
Yeah.
They request 4 officers. We had 2 in the past. We've had 2 from Winthrop, 2 from Monmouth. They pay us for that coverage.
Oh, so it's just a pass through for
It's a
us.
pass through, yes.
Okay, yeah, all right, thanks.
And they cut Winthrop a check for, let's see, it was 10 hours at $600, $1,200, $2,400 is what they gave Winthrop. And
Yeah, if it's a pass through, it's a pass through. I'm just curious as to why. I knew the Ironman's in Augusta, right?
Augusta, Hollowell, Farmingdale, but
So if they're contracting, that's different than just sending people in. That's
We
just.
did benefit quite a bit by that too, because the lodging around, I think the winter was lodged.
Oh, really? Cool. The other, I think I got 2 more questions here. One is and this maybe Kevin can answer, or Anthony. We spoke about crushed gravel from Monmouth. But we've bought a lot from Stevenson. Are we active with that crushed gravel from Monmouth, or?
Yes, we do now have crushed gravel from Monmouth. We've started trucking it over to our pit now, or to our lot. We did buy some stuff from C.H. Stevens to finish up some projects that we had around town because it was more convenient to do that to run all the way over to Monmouth. But we now have stuff at our shop in Monmouth. In Winthrop from Monmouth. We have a load of it over there. It's going to be stored there and we'll bring it over as needed. We have a whole separate pile. They weren't able to do as much as they originally thought. So we're going to purchase less from them than we originally thought,
Okay.
but the gravel is good.
All right, I'm just curious, as I thought that was an agreement that we had. The other thing is, there's an unusual amount of expenses from the library. There's a $6,800. It's various credit card expenses for all kinds of different stuff. It's not usually, that's a little bit out of the ordinary. I'm just curious, is there like a yearly spend or something like that $6,800?
They're not spending just for the sake of spending.
No, I just,
Uh,
My guess would be it's that.
like yearly updates or something?
Yeah.
Oh, it's all.
Yeah, I don't know. So a lot of times we pay bills with credit cards just because it creates a paper trail and it's fast and
Lot of-
convenient to do it that way. And so if you wanted some more information, we could get that. So, but I can't speak to what their individual expenses are.
You see what I'm saying? Stuff. I usually look through them and don't usually see that, so. I'm assuming it all looks like stuff that they would have. It's just unusual, that one big amount.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion to approve the warrants.
Any discussion, any further? All right, all in favor? Linda?
Yes.
Thank you. All are in favor. Item 147, consideration of recommendations from the Appointments Committee.
We have one application from Patricia Savory for the Downtown Revitalization Committee. And my recommendation is to approve. She's participated in many different committees or other volunteer aspects in town.
I think it's a renewal anyway.
I think it is too, yeah.
I'll second. Any discussion? All in favor?
I'm in favor.
Thank you, Linda. And moving on to the end is public comment. Is there anyone in the audience or anyone online? Not seeing anyone in the audience or online, we will move on to the town manager's report.
So as I mentioned, we had our first, I've dubbed this the Let's Talk Winthrop Community Conversations, and we had a really good conversation at lunchtime at the library on Friday. I was hoping that we might get like 6 people, and we ended up with a couple of dozen people, and we talked about a range of topics that I emailed you folks about earlier today. On Wednesday morning here in the all-purpose room, we're going to do the same thing with a focus on finances. So Nick and I will be available to talk to people and answer questions about the budget and taxes and reassessment. And then next Monday, we're going to do the same thing with the school superintendent, just talking about whatever school issues might be on people's minds. So we're already working ahead on having something focused on roads because we got a lot of questions about roads and in particularly DOT roads. And so you folks may know that the DOT's regional traffic engineer is Daryl Bells, who is a Winthrop resident. So he's agreeable to coming and doing that. And we've also, this segues into the next item too. This past week, we had a design meeting regarding our website. So remember, we're moving to a new platform and we're redesigning the website. On Wednesday afternoon, we're having the kickoff meeting. We got some good feedback about our current website during the community conversation on Friday. And we're thinking about having something that's sort of dedicated to the website so that we can get people's feedback on what they're wanting and needing from the town's website. And Tim Adams and Shay Dulac are part of that group too. So we've recruited a couple citizens to help us with that. Thursday, just so you folks know, Thursday, we're meeting with a contact that I had, used to work for KV Cog, ran into him at the MMA convention. He's now working for another organization, but they have what they call these $25,000 lightning grants, and it's to help stabilize municipal facilities. And so we're having a meeting with him on Thursday to discuss a potential $25,000 grant to help improve our recreation building, because when the MMA risk came and did an inspection of all our buildings, that was actually the facility that raised the most concerns. So maybe some things just to stabilize the roof in particular.
Can we see some results from that MMA?
Sure.
Yeah, I know that we were going to do it. I didn't realize they'd already come and I didn't.
Yeah.
Be interested to see the results.
Well, and one of the things also, Roy, is that remember we hired the safety consultant, and so she's been working with all the different departments, and so we've already made a lot of progress on the inside of that building, but there's some issues with the roof, and then also there's like a dilapidated shed out behind that we're going to have to get rid of in some way. So anyway, so this $25,000 grant might be helpful with that. We've got lots of facility needs, but that seems like a good candidate for that grant. Just a reminder, on the 29th, we have the candidates forum, 6 p.m. at the library. And so that will also be broadcast live on our Facebook page. On November 3rd, your next council meeting, we're going to have in the small conference room, because this room will already be set up for Election Day the following day. And on the agenda, and of particular note, is the cemetery ordinance. So I'm going to email that to you folks tomorrow so that you can begin looking at it. I mean, it's kind of voluminous. It's got some notes from the town attorney in there as well, so you can start considering that. I know there's a lot of interest among the council members about what's going on with the Charter Commission. I will continue to keep you folks in the loop in that. And one of the things I worked on Friday, and now I've turned it over to the town clerk, is a recall provision. So there was interest by the Charter Commission for that. I researched a couple of dozen charters from other cities and towns, and so we'll be presenting to the Charter Commission a proposed recall provision. Also on, pardon me, Halloween night, 4 to 7, not really the night, 4 to 7 p.m. In the municipal lot, we'll be doing the trunk or treat, and the Downtown Revitalization Committee has been doing a lot of work for that. You see in the back of the room a bunch of corn stalks, so that's for the trunk or treat as well. And then
I got a call on that this weekend about it being in the parking lot down there, and the concern that it's gonna kind of put a halt to operations, and not a halt, but it's gonna make it more difficult to operate down there with the business. So I did get that call this weekend. And there was concern about, is it appropriate to have it in that parking lot, knowing that there's a bar there, that type of thing. So I know we we discussed it earlier this summer, but kind of thought about it and was, I know it's probably too late now to do anything, but I think going forward, we need to think about that.
Thank you, Linda. Andy, you wanted to comment?
Yeah, the businesses down there have the advantage of using public parking, of their customers utilizing public parking, and they don't have adequate private parking. And for Halloween, for one day a year, I think they need to get a sense of humor. That's all I gotta say.
The other thing I would, as far as it being down there in that location, I mean, I believe we're gonna have police officers down there. We're gonna have probably ambulance crew down there. We're gonna have firefighters down there, and we're done at 7. So, I think that there should be sufficient coverage as far as that.
Okay, I just
That's
brought
my
it up
feeling.
because, yeah, I just brought it up because it was brought up to me, so I said I would bring it up.
Excellent. Thank you, Linda. I think that'll
Thank you,
be
Linda.
good with the safety aspect up until 7, and then it should be a nice compromise after 7.
Yep.
And lastly, speaking of Sully's, the night before on the 30th at 5 p.m., that's when we're going to be celebrating Steve Kennedy. So you folks, we'd love to see you there.
Thank
What is
you.
that again?
So at 5 o'clock at Sully's on the 30th, which is a Thursday, we're going to be celebrating Steve Kennedy's retirement.
Okay.
Big congratulations to Steve Kennedy on his retirement.
And he's only going to be sort of semi-retired. He's going to return as a seasonal employee to work in the cemeteries moving forward. Just didn't want to plow snow any longer.
You have anything else?
That's it.
Right, any other comments from the council? Go ahead.
Just that, Anthony, that stuff that you sent, all the research you did, looks like it's gonna be a big help about right, the name won't pop, I need help from young minds over here. But anyway, that, I read through most of that, and it's gonna give us a good basis to take a look at the recall and all that. Thank you for that.
Just was thinking after Dan had left and then you were speaking, talking about grant money. I know the government shut down, so we don't hear anything about our communication tower yet. So we're probably waiting in that. But when we did have a discussion with the resilience, were there some provisions for safety measures or anything like that that we could use to help for something for a ladder truck or something towards the fire department? Or is there grants to help with some of that?
I'm unaware of them. That doesn't mean we won't look for them.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a possibility of any sort of resiliency grants in that regard, but
No, they put up, again, it just comes to mind. I know they put that same amount of money every year. It's quite a chunk.
yeah.
And if it could be utilized to help offset some things. I mean, we've done a great job with it so far, but I mean, continue to keep finding ways to use that money.
Yeah.
So, all right, thanks.
Well, thanks. First, I as well was been kind of thinking on that, and I remember hearing some national discussion at, I don't know if it was through Congress or what, on the price gouging of these fire engine suppliers. Have anybody followed that? I didn't follow it through till the end.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything.
But I
You
know
may
there was-
recall, I think I sent you guys a article that was in the New York Times.
Yeah.
In fact, I think, did you, Aaron, bring that to my attention? Yeah.
I was
And,
hoping that maybe
Is any
Right
sort
now
of
I'm waiting for a
alerts or
class.
anything?
it's still being, trying to become like a class action. I think they have to get or something like that. It's a district watching.
And I'm wondering if something like that would also affect pricing on these things. Because I listened to some of the testimony in Congress, and it was pretty substantial numbers that they were talking about. And also tactics. It was not just the numbers, it was the tactics of pushing them out that long unnecessarily in order to, for financial gain.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to ask about, we had a discussion with the cemetery at the beginning of the summer regarding spending, upgrading the roads and
Right.
that sort of thing. Do you know any idea of the progress of that? Have they made any progress?
They have. I know that, and Kevin may be able to speak to the roads. I met this morning with two of the cemetery committee members, and I do know that the vendor that they're working with to do some of the repairs to the stones has not been as responsive as they would like. And so they're a little frustrated by that. Kevin, you want to speak to the roads?
Yeah, I apologize. I haven't been to the last I went to the last cemetery meeting, but not the one before that. So I'm not sure where we are with the roads. I know there was some guys on the committee that were looking at the roads and getting contract pricing. Steve Kennedy was also getting some information on somebody that he had that had given him a quote before he was getting it refreshed, but I can't tell you where they are at this point. I can find out.
I just
back to you.
curious
Yep.
if there's any sort of update on.
So I think when at our next meeting on the 3rd, in addition to considering the cemetery ordinance, maybe we'll have an update of where we are with capital projects.
All right.
Linda, do you have anything else?
No, all set.
Great. At this time, I'll move to adjourn the meeting at 7:01 PM.
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor?
I'm in favor.
All right. Thank you all.
I think that might be the short one.